Welcome friends. In this lecture I will be discussing about certain essentials of what is known as scientometrics. The scientometrics term might sound like something new to many of us, but we have all used scientometrics and we have applied scientometrics at one or the other time during our research and analysis of research. So in this lecture I will be discussing about how to use scientometrics, what is the meaning of scientometrics, and certain essentials of scientometrics. So the definition of scientometrics is something like it is the field of study concerned with measuring and analyzing the scientific literature. It is the science, or it is the branch of science, or it is the field of study that analyzes and measures the scientific literature. So this contains two words, science and metrics, right? But here it doesn't stand for the measurement of the science, rather it stands for the measurement of scientific literature, the published literature, right? So scientometrics is a field that deals with the analysis of published scientific literature, and it happens to be a subfield of bibliometrics. Now what is bibliometrics? So bibliometrics is nothing but the use of statistical tools to analyze books, articles and other research publications, and this is frequently used in the field of library and information science. And what does it measure? It measures the impact of research papers, academic journals, and also the impact of individual researchers. So the use of bibliometrics might be at different levels to assess and analyze the quality or impact of scientific literature. So understanding of scientific citations is also important aspect that is included under bibliometrics, and use of such measurements in policy and management contexts. So this is the application of bibliometrics. So once you analyze the impact or analyze the quality of the published material or the quality of published material from a particular journal or the publication quality of a particular researcher, after you analyze it, you want to either use it in the context of management or in the context of policy making. That is how it is used. Now, what is citation analysis? So citation analysis is a way of measuring the relative importance or the impact of an author, an article, or a publication by counting the number of times that the author, article or publication has been cited by other works. I'll be discussing this in detail, but this is for the sake of definition. So that is how citation analysis is defined. Okay, and many research fields use bibliometric methods to explore the impact of their field, the impact of the researchers, the impact of a particular paper, or also to identify particularly impactful papers with a specific field of within the specific field of research. So this is how citation analysis is used. So the journal metrics and author metrics. So these are the two levels of metrics. One is journal level metrics and another one is author level metrics. We will be discussing in our lecture these two levels of metrics. Of course, there could be several other applications of these bibliometrics or scientometrics, but in our lecture we will restrict to the journal level metrics and author level metrics. So journal level metrics are used to evaluate the contribution of a particular journal to the field of science, or to evaluate the impact a particular journal has had on the particular field of science, or to evaluate the quality of journal, or to compare the contributions of a particular journal with those of others. So these are certain uses of journal level metrics. And in this lecture, I will be discussing impact factor, site score, SNIP, SJR, and H index. Though there are many different types of indices that are available, and there are many metrics that are available, but these are commonly used and applied and very popular ones. So I will be discussing about only these 4 or 5 aspects. Similarly, at author level, the metrics are applied to assess the contribution of a particular author to the field of science, or to compare one author with the other, to evaluate who is better or whose contributions are more significant, and so on. So under author level metrics, we have H index once again, I10 index, G index, and characteristic index. So these 4 indices will be discussed in this lecture. Of course, there are tens of hundreds of different metrics that have been suggested, but most of them are not used. Most of them are of only theoretical importance. But these indices that I'll be discussing in this lecture are the ones that are most used and most applied. So before getting into the actual discussion, we should know what is a citation, what is meant by citation. Because if you don't understand what is a citation, you won't be able to understand any of the topics that will be discussed in this lecture. So this is a screenshot of a particular paper, published paper. And you can see the references section, right? And there are 8 references that have been included in this reference section of this particular paper. Now, what does it mean? This paper has cited 8 different papers. This is the meaning of citing or citation. Okay? And what is the meaning of being cited? Out of these 8 papers, each of these papers has received 1 citation each because of this paper, right? Because this paper has cited 8 different papers. All those 8 papers have received 1 citation each because of this paper, right? So this is something called citing a paper and cited, being cited by a paper. So coming to the journal level metrics. The first one is the journal impact factor, which is very commonly used and very popular. And originally it was invented to evaluate the quality of journal in the sense that the librarians would be able to subscribe to what kind of journal. Because if a particular journal has a high impact factor, it only means that more people read that journal. So a librarian would be able to take decision on subscribing to a particular journal. So that is the purpose of inventing this impact factor. But nowadays this impact factor is being used in several other ways to evaluate the quality of journal, to evaluate the quality of paper published in a particular journal, to evaluate the contribution of a particular author, and so on and so forth. Many times these implications are far-fetched, and there is sometimes undue attention given to impact factor. Of course, that is a separate issue. So what is impact factor? Impact factor of an academic journal is a scientometric index that reflects the yearly average number of citations that articles published in the last 2 years received. So I'll be explaining in next slide the details and intricacies of this, but this is how it is defined. And these citations are calculated based on Web of Science. So all those journals that are included in Web of Science are taken into consideration to calculate the impact factor of those journals. Around 12 to 15,000 journals are there which receive impact factor every year, and this impact factor is allotted by Clarivate Analytics, okay, who manage the Web of Science database. See, this is one example from Nature, right? The Nature journal had an impact factor of 41.577 in the year 2017. Okay, so what does it mean? It means that the citations received in the year 2017 for the articles published in the year 2016 and 2015, okay, are taken as a numerator, and under denominator, what is taken? The total number of publications published in 2016 and 2015, right? So, impact factor for a given year, for example, recently, in the month of July or so, the Clarivate Analytics has come out with the 2020 JCR, that is Journal Citation Report, and that report contains the impact factors for the year 2019. Obviously, because 2020 is not yet complete, so the impact factor for the year 2019 is released in the year 2020. Okay, and what does it mean? The citations received in the year 2019 are taken as numerator, and this number is divided by the total number of papers published in the year 2017 and 18. Okay, so that is how you calculate the impact factor. So in any given year, the journal impact factor is the ratio between the number of citations received in that year for the papers published in the 2 preceding years and the total number of papers published in that journal during the 2 preceding years. So this is the basis of calculation of impact factor, right? So in this case, in the Nature of 2017, right? So total citations received in 2017 were 74,000 and odd, but total articles published during 2 preceding years, that is 2015 and 2016, were 880 plus 902, so roughly 2000 or less than 2000, right? So 74,000 divided by less than 2000, that becomes 41.577. So you can understand that if the journal publishes more number of papers, the denominator value increases, and that is why when you divide the numerator, the total value will decrease. So the impact factor of a publication or a journal also depends on the total number of articles published every year, right? That is how impact factor can be deviated from year to year. Now there is something called Eigen factor score. It is also based on WOS, that is Web of Science. So journals are rated according to the number of incoming citations. Here the citing source is also taken into account. In impact factor, who is citing your paper is not considered, right? Of course, only those journals that are included in Web of Science will be considered, but out of that, further hierarchy of journals is not considered, okay, while calculating impact factor. But here, the hierarchy of the journal is also considered. So from where is a particular citation coming to a particular journal, right? If that source is highly ranked, then that particular citation will receive an extra weightage, more weightage. Whereas those citations received from poorly ranked journals will receive lesser weightage. Okay, so journals are rated according to the number of incoming citations. That is something different from what is known as impact factor. So Eigen factor and impact factor, both of them are released in the journal citation reports or report, right, JCR, which is released every year, usually in the month of July. And the Eigen factor score is a rating of the total importance of a scientific journal. This is how it is supposed to be, right? Of course, Eigen factor is somehow not being used to assess the quality or the impact a journal has had. It is not so popular, right? The most popular one happens to be impact factor. Before going into CITE score, we need to discuss that there are some fake and bogus impact factors that are being allotted by some bogus agencies. We should be very, very careful of these agencies. There are several new so-called impact factors have come up, like Global Impact Factor, Cosmos Impact Factor, SJIF Impact Factor, Universal Impact Factor, and so on and so forth. And all this has come up because of the mushrooming of low quality journals, right? So low quality journals, they want to attract the academicians. So to attract academicians, they want to show that they are having some high impact. And from where do they get this high impact? There will be some agencies. Again, there is always collusion between these researchers and the journal owners. So there will be some new agency which will be coming up, and that asks a particular journal to pay some money, and without any calculation, right, without any transparency, the agency, evaluating agency, would give something like impact factor. Of course, not pure impact factor. There will be some adjective or some prefix or something like that to avoid lawsuits and so on. So actual impact factor, the genuine impact factor, is awarded by Clarivate Analytics only. There is only one impact factor, and that is the Journal Citation Report impact factor, JCR, right? No other impact factor is valid. So please don't fall prey to those journals that boast of some huge amount of impact factors, right? You carefully read them whether this impact factor is originally given by Clarivate Analytics or not. That you can check, right? On Web of Science, you can go and check whether this journal, particular journal, is included in Journal Citation Report. So if it is included in Journal Citation Report, then only it will have some impact factor. If it is not included, it means the impact factor that is being displayed by that particular journal is bogus. Okay, so these are certain precautions that one has to take while understanding the impact factor. Okay, now coming to CITE score. CITE score came into existence comparatively recently, a few years ago, and CITE score is based on Scopus. So Scopus is a good database, Web of Science is another good database, and both of them are owned by certain industries or publishers, right? So Clarivate Analytics owns this Web of Science database, whereas Elsevier owns this Scopus, right? So Scopus came out with its own kind of CITE score, and it was perceived that this CITE score could become a very strong alternative for impact factor. That is how the CITE score was projected when it was introduced in the initial years. In the initial years, CITE score was also calculated similar to that of impact factor, but based on Scopus citations. It did not consider the Web of Science citations. Okay, it considered the Scopus citations. This is one thing. Second, it also considered the citations received during last 3 years. Instead of last 2 years, it included the citations received for the papers published during last 3 years. And third difference was that it also considered the citations received for the papers like letters to editor or case reports or some other maybe editorials, right? So all such components were also included while calculating CITE score. But recently, few months ago, the calculation pattern of site score has undergone a huge change, right? Now it doesn't mimic the impact factor, right? To some extent it doesn't mimic, and in other extent, in other aspects, it also mimics the impact factor to certain level, right? So now, whatever I have written in this slide is the current status of site score. So site score is allotted by Elsevier, and this is calculated based on Scopus indexed journals, and instead of including citations made in 1 year, it covers 4 years. Now the site score considers the citations generated during last 4 years to the articles published during last 4 years. Okay, so now what happens with this is older articles get their full citation impact. Otherwise, in impact factor, only 2 years of citations are calculated. Afterwards, irrespective of what number of citations a paper is going to receive, those citations are not going to contribute to the impact factor, right? But in this case, old articles get their full citation impact because there is a wide window of 4 years, right? Then the site score only includes research articles. So now it doesn't include the editorials, letters to editor, or small case reports and so on. Only research articles and review articles, right? They are, especially those that undergo strict peer review, right? Those are included while calculating the site score. This is one more important aspect. Then this means it is no longer influenced by non-peer reviewed articles like editorials, news items, letters and notes. And site score values are displayed to 1 decimal place. Earlier they used to display the site score values in 2 decimals, but now to avoid the perception that the site scores are highly precise, right? What they have done is they have reduced the decimal point to 1. Now this is how they are calculated. So citations, there are 2 letters A and B. The orange colored bars indicate the citations received during the year 2016, 17, 18 and 19. Okay, so sum of these citations becomes A, and the documents published during these 4 years, 2016, 2017, 2018 and 2019, right? The sum of these articles published during those 4 years becomes the B, that is denominator. Now A divided by B becomes the site score for the year 2019, the last year out of these 4 years. Okay, so that is how site score is calculated. And if you visit any journal website that is published by Elsevier, right, site score will be displayed on its website. Along with site score, there will also be SNP, SNIP and SJR. 2 more metrics will also be displayed. So what is Scimago journal rank? SJR, it is called SJR. So for instance, on the left side you can see that Journal of Ayurveda and Integrative Medicine. This journal has got an H index of 22. Okay, that is one aspect. Then Scimago journal rank measures the weighted citations received by the journal. So this is the calculation based on weighted citations. So citations weighting depends upon the subject field and rank or prestige of the citing journal. Right here, see, this Scimago journal rank was evolved to make the journals comparable, right? Journals from different streams comparable. Earlier, see, if you consider only impact factor, right? An impact factor, a journal with the impact factor 1 from a stream which is not very popular, maybe Ayurveda, right? cannot be compared with a journal that has got impact factor of maybe 72. How can you compare? Why can't you compare? It is because the fields like maybe nanotechnology, molecular biology, biotechnology, genetics, these are certain fields that are being researched widely all over the globe. There are too many good institutions and too many excellent researchers who are working in these fields. So there are huge number of journals and huge number of citations. So the total number of citations generated in a given field, right, it varies. In fields like mainstream science, maybe physics, maybe chemistry, the citations generated are huge. But in the fields like Ayurveda, right, there are only few exclusive journals that are dedicated to Ayurveda, and serious workers who work for Ayurveda are limited, and especially they are limited to few countries or few institutions. So obviously the total number of citations generated every year for Ayurveda field are very, very low in comparison to the total number of citations generated in the field of nanotechnology or biotechnology or molecular biology, obviously. So by comparing these two journals based on impact factor becomes impractical, right? Obviously the journal that publishes Ayurveda will obviously have a smaller impact factor, because the the total citations generated in complementary and alternative medicine field are very low. So to avoid this sort of confusion, the Scimago journal rank was invented. So what do? They categorize the journals depending on the field of specialization, right? So this Journal of Ayurveda and Integrative Medicine falls under the category of complementary and alternative medicine. And all journals coming under this category, that is complementary alternative medicine, if they are arranged, right, in a sequence from top to bottom, then first quadrant will be called Q1, second quadrant will be called Q2, then third quadrant will be called Q3, and last quadrant is called Q4. You might have heard that you want to publish with Q1 journal. So what is this Q1 journal? This is based on Scimago journal rank. So Q1 journals are of high reputation, Q2 a bit lower reputation, Q3, Q4 are the journals that are usually supposed to be avoided, right? They are of not good, very good quality is something that is indicated, okay? Now if you go through the Scimago journal ranks website, so these are certain journals randomly I have taken. See 1, 2, 3, 4. Here you have got the SJR rank 1.585, 1.3, 1.16, 1.095. See, as per the journal rank SJR, the journals attain their position, they go on occupying lower and lower positions as they score less and less. Okay, so it is not dependent on H index. See, first journal has got 57 of H index, journal 2 has got 37, journal 3 132. H index is more, but still it is in third position. Why? Because of this SJR rank. Okay, it takes into consideration several things like total documents in 2019, total documents in 3 years, total references in 2019, total sites in 3 years, then citable documents in 3 years, right? So then sites divided by documents for 2 years. So this number is something that will be used along with SJR. To calculate SJR, these are certain numbers that are used, and based on the SJR ranking, the journals are listed as number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4 and so on. And out of all journals in a given field, The top quadrant journals will be named as Q1. The second quadrant journals will be named as Q2 journals. The third quadrant Q3, and last quadrant will be named as Q4. And also the SJR also gives country ranking. In the last column, as you can see, different the different countries have also been mentioned, right? So it is used for assessing the journal rank and also the country rank, right? The contribution of a particular country in a given field, that also is reflected in this kind of metrics. Now coming to SNP. After SJR, we are going to discuss about SNP, S-N-I-P. This stands for Source Normalized Impact Per Publication. Source Normalized Impact Per Publication. So this measures the contextual citation impact by weighting the citations based on the total number of citations in a subject field. So this also takes into consideration the total number of citations generated in a field. As I told you before, the total number of citations received or generated in one field varies from those generated in another field. But SNP takes this into consideration, and this enables direct comparison of sources in different subject fields. And the impact of a citation is given higher value in subject areas where citations are less likely, right? Impact of a citation is given higher value in subject areas where citations are less likely, and vice versa. Okay? So there are few more terminologies that one should be able to understand in the context of calculation of SNP. So SNP is a ratio with a numerator and a denominator. So SNP's numerator is a journal's impact per publication. Okay, and this is simply the average number of citations received in a particular year by papers published in the journal during the 3 preceding years. That is nothing but the impact per publication. Okay, then there is something called DCP. The SNP's denominator is the database citation potential. The database citation potential, because we know that there are large differences between various scientific subfields in the frequency at which authors cite papers. In view of this, for each journal, an indicator is calculated of the citation potential in the subject field it covers, and this citation potential is included in SNP's denominator, the DCP. Now SNP is IPP divided by DCP. Of course, if you want further details, you can go through the SJR website. I won't be able to discuss further in this lecture as of now, but I have given you a brief idea about what SNP is all about. So SNP takes into consideration the field, subject field. Okay. So these are certain journal level metrics. H-index is also used to evaluate journal, but it is similar to the calculation of H-index for authors. So I'll be discussing about H-index under author level metrics, which is same. Similarly, it can be calculated for a journal also.